Trump confirms 104% tariffs on Chinese goods as part of unfolding global trade war. Beijing vows to fight to the end as president claims many countries are seeking a deal with U.S. Trump confirms 104% tariffs on Chinese goods as part of unfolding global trade war. Beijing vows to fight to the end as president claims many countries are seeking a deal with U.S. politics live updates. Callum Jones in Washington, Helen Davidson in Taipei, Lauren Almeida in London. Tuesday, April 8, 2025, 18.44 BST. Share. Donald Trump is poised to unleash his trade war with the world on Wednesday, pressing ahead with a slew of tariffs on the U.S.'s largest trading partners despite fears of widespread economic damage and calls to reconsider. The U.S. president claimed many countries were seeking a deal with Washington, as his administration prepared to impose steep tariffs on goods from dozens of markets from Wednesday. However, Beijing vowed to fight to the end after Trump threatened to hit Chinese exports with additional 50% tariffs if the country proceeds with plans to retaliate against his initial vow to impose tariffs of 34% on its products. That would come on top of the existing 20% levy and take the total tariff on Chinese imports to 104%. The White House confirmed that the higher U.S. tariffs on China would indeed be imposed from Wednesday. President Trump has a spine of steel and he will not break, the press secretary Caroline Leavitt said. And America will not break under his leadership. The billionaire Trump advisor Elon Musk has also reportedly asked the president to reverse course, and the new Civil Liberties Alliance, a libertarian group funded by organizations affiliated with conservative businessmen Leonard Leo and Charles Koch, filed a lawsuit against the illegal tariffs. The latest tariffs are higher than the 10% flat rate imposed on all global imports to the U.S. on Friday last week, and are tailored to specific countries based on a formula that has been criticized by economists that divides trade in goods deficit by twice the total value of imports. After days of turmoil since they were first revealed last week, global markets initially recovered some ground on Tuesday as senior U.S. officials attempted to reassure investors that the new tariffs, including rates of 20% on the European Union, 26% on India, and 49% on Cambodia, could be temporary. But the bounce didn't last long. On Wall Street, the benchmark S&P 500 closed down 1.6%, at 4,982.77, below 5,000 for the first time in more than a year, as the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.8%. Technology-focused Nasdaq Composite also came under pressure, dropping 2.2%. Earlier in the day, the FTSE 100 rallied by 2.7% in London, recovering some of the losses it has endured since Trump's announcement on what was dubbed Liberation Day by his aides last week. The Nikkei 225 rallied 6% in Tokyo. The Hang Seng Index rose 1.5% in Hong Kong. Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, has insisted the new tariffs are at maximum levels and expressed confidence that negotiations will bring them down. I think you are going to see some very large countries with large trade deficits come forward very quickly, he told CNBC, the financial news network, on Tuesday. If they come to the table with solid proposals, I think we can end up with some good deals. Trump was asked on Monday whether the tariffs set the stage for negotiations with countries or were permanent. Well, it can both be true, he told reporters. There can be permanent tariffs and there can also be negotiations. But he again raised the prospect of agreements with countries on Tuesday, trailing a potential deal with South Korea. Their top team is on a plane heading to the U.S. and things are looking good, Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform. We are likewise dealing with many other countries, all of whom want to make a deal with the United States. The president added, one-stop shopping is a beautiful and efficient process. China also wants to make a deal badly, but they don't know how to get it started.
Donald Trump is imposing tariffs on goods from China of 104%.
It's after China retaliated to the president's most recent tariff hike, matching the levies like for like.
Trump's tariff war is ramping up between the world's two biggest economies and global rivals.
So how far will China go to take a stand? Here's everything you need to know.
There were already US tariffs on some Chinese goods as a hangover from Donald Trump's first term. Earlier this year, he placed 10% on all imports from China, then another 10%, then 34%. When China retaliated, Donald Trump announced that he would place 50% on top. It is Donald Trump's pile-on. China clearly a prime target, but they are by no means alone. I'm on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where it's been a tough few days. Although today the markets have stabilised. Monitors in this place are showing more green than red, and here green is good. The question, of course, is what happens in the longer term. The Trump administration says that countries, more than 50 of them, are queuing up to negotiate on tariffs. They're watching developments closely here. Amidst the politics, this is the business end, and it's everybody's business.
Tariffs are going to hit really hard in a country where exports are a fifth of the economy. But a decision has clearly been made that the pain is worth it to make a political stand. The big question is, what will China do next? And it is likely to retaliate. There are a few easier measures that it could take. It's likely to put more controls on things like rare earth minerals that are used in the production of high-tech products. Also, it's likely to go after agricultural products that will hit the US hard. But other economic measures will really hurt China. So there's speculation other things could be more political, more cultural. For example, the cessation of all cooperation when it comes to fentanyl. That would make Donald Trump furious.
Under what conditions at this point would President Trump talk to President Xi about tariffs?
Look, I just spoke to the president about this, and he believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China has to make a deal with the United States. It was a mistake for China to retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder. That's why there will be 104% tariffs going into effect on China tonight at midnight. But the president believes that Xi and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started. And the president also wanted me to tell all of you that if China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
So China has to call first?
The Chinese want to make a deal. They just don't know how to do it. But the president will be implementing these 104% tariffs on China tonight.
Under what conditions might he consider lowering tariffs on China at this point?
It would be imprudent of me to tell you those conditions here from the podium.